Hi, it's Chris Watkin here with Richard Rawlings, estate agency consultant and trainer. Richard, you've been in estate agency training for
about 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah, something like that.
What do you think the biggest frustrations of estate agents are? Talk to me.
I think, their frustration is strange enough that actually go back way in time to even when I started. Not having enough instructions, too many competitors, although far more now than there ever were, but it was always competitive. Other agents undercutting fees, it's just been allowed to spiral down a little bit as well. Certainly volumes are lower than they have been previously. I mean, down to a million or so transactions a year is very light considering how many agents are out there now. And frankly, if you just averaged it all out, that puts it at about £100,000 per branch per year, if not less, which is shocking.
I don't know how most can run a business.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, now is a time, if ever agents just need to sit up and think about what they're doing and actually doing serious business and getting aggressive with their competitors in the most professional, charming way, now is the time, because it's really serious. I mean, 3 years ago, I said, agents, you've got 3 years left. That's of the traditional high street agent. For no longer to be the traditional high street agent. It's a time when, as we know, with the low value agents coming in, the online agents, that's fine, there's a place for that. I applaud them for the gap in the market they've seen. But the opportunity now for a more boutique style of agency, it's the Asda and the Waitrose, really. There can be nothing in the middle. The middle's boring, nobody likes boring. They want something that's actually going to be right for them, either cheap and cheerful or turning out to be rubbish, maybe. But people generally don't buy cheap. They buy the product they prefer. And that's why I think agents should be making this move to become the more... Boutique styles are a bit shishy, but what I really mean is to be offering a service that really makes people want it very, very much indeed.
So you say there's no middle ground. We've either got to go cheap and cheerful or go boutique.
Yeah. Problem is you can't go cheap and cheerful because there isn't enough. You can't stack them high, sell them cheap because there isn't enough to stack.
True.
So you've got to go the other way.
There's no option, is there?
No option. Absolutely no option. And as I say, those agents in the middle, no wonder they're feeling the pinch right now. They just haven't grasped this thing. They haven't sought out new opportunities. And I don't blame them either, because they've probably started an agency through and through, like most agents. They've started an agency, as I did. They've started as agents. They've made that transition, as I did, from being what they thought was a good agent to a rubbish manager, perhaps. Yes. But they haven't necessarily addressed it as business people. And I think a great exercise that agents can do is to sit down and go through the exercise of pretending to open up in competition with themselves and to say...
Yes, because you said that in one of your rat articles, which are absolutely fantastic. You must see
Rawlings Agency Tips, yes. About 180 of those I think I've done now, yeah. Absolutely. Imagine you're the agency opening up in competition with yourself. What would you do to smash yourself out of business? What is your soft underbelly? What are the things you would need to do as a new agent to corner the market? It's probably not what you're doing now.
So what would you do? How deep would you go to look at that analysis of pretending to open a new agency?
Well, it is just an exercise, but it makes you look very deeply at what your own weak points are. So if you were going
almost
to
like a SWOT analysis, strength, weakness,
absolutely,
opportunities, threats.
And threats, it is indeed. So it's looking at how you are now, because you probably haven't changed a great deal over the last few years. You may have.
But they've got Rightmove and the PC, Richard.
But all these things are. There's nothing. Well, I say there's nothing new. The other agents are doing them as well. And that's why a lot of agents haven't kept up. They've waited to the other agent. I mean, in my day, I remember it was, if you were lucky, you got a photograph on the property, on the details, and that was a black and white photocopy. Most of my time as a junior negotiator was as a photocopying assistant, photocopying.
But then, can you remember when we used to stick the photographs on?
Well, then one agent came along and did these colour photographs, and we said, "Oh, you can't do that. That's not how you do it." But of course, they did it, so we had to do it.
Yes.
And it's usually the originators of the new concept, breaking boundaries, breaking molds. People probably who are not from an agency background saying, well, why are you doing it like that? Surely we should be doing it like this. And a lot of agents have had to follow, oh yeah, we'll include our EPCs, and yes, we'll be on this, we'll do that. But at the end of the day, it's usually the originators of something that is great for the client. I mean, we used to call them, most agents still call them, USPs, unique selling propositions, unique selling points. I call them UCBs, unique client benefit. What is the benefit to the client of anything you're doing? And we need to be pushing everything to ultimately the customer wins. The customer determines what is right for them, but they don't know what is right for them. Maybe we could talk about that in an up and coming video. Absolutely.
Good stuff.
There's
Thank
loads
you,
to talk about.
Cheers.
Very welcome.